How do unfunded liabilities drive rising national debt? Imagine promising your neighbor you will mow their lawn every week for the next 20 years, but never saving any money to do it. That's similar to how the government handles some of its future obligations. Unfunded liabilities are promises the government has made to pay benefits in the future, but it hasn't set aside enough money to cover those promises. The biggest examples are Social Security and Medicare. These programs are designed to help retirees and seniors, but they are not fully funded. That means the government has promised benefits worth trillions of dollars, but it doesn't have the cash ready to pay for them. Instead, it has to borrow money to meet those promises as they come due. This borrowing adds directly to the national debt. The total unfunded liabilities of the United States are estimated to be around $73 trillion over the next 75 years. That's a huge number, and it's driven mainly by Social Security and Medicare. The government has promised these benefits, but the current revenue from taxes and dedicated trust funds isn't enough to pay for them. So, it borrows money by issuing Treasury securities, which are a type of government debt. This borrowing increases the national debt, which is the total amount the government owes. The reason the debt keeps rising is because spending on Social Security and Medicare is growing faster than the government's income. This is partly due to the aging population. More retirees mean more benefits paid out, but fewer workers are paying taxes to support those benefits. As a result, the government has to borrow more money to fill the gap. Interest costs also make the problem worse. As the debt grows, the government pays more in interest each year. Those interest payments take up a bigger share of the budget, leaving less money for other priorities. If the trend continues without reforms, the debt could reach levels that are hard to manage, possibly exceeding 500% of the country's gross domestic product by the end of the century. From a Republican point of view, these unfunded liabilities are a serious threat to economic stability. They argue that borrowing more money to pay for programs that aren't fully funded pushes an unfair burden onto future generations. Higher taxes and fewer economic opportunities could result if no action is taken. That's why many Republicans emphasize the need for entitlement reform. They suggest adjusting benefits, raising the age for eligibility, or controlling how fast costs grow. These steps aim to make these programs sustainable and prevent the debt from spiraling out of control. Addressing unfunded liabilities means controlling spending growth in Social Security and Medicare. It also involves reforming these programs so they are based on available resources. Reducing reliance on borrowing and making sure future promises are backed by real funding are key steps. This helps protect taxpayers and keeps the country financially stable. In the end, unfunded liabilities are a big driver of rising national debt because they create a gap between what the government has promised and what it actually has in the bank. Without reforms, this gap will only grow, threatening the country's economic future. That's why tackling these issues now is so important for long-term fiscal health.